Hi, everyone. So I'm sitting here trying to decompress from the day. Every day seems to be full on. And at the moment, there's a lot of things that are coming into play. And it's only going to get worse. So right now, there's the mask issue. Some places are going into second lockdown. And then I hear about Doug Ford, who is our Ontario Premier. And so I don't know all the details about this, but there's talk about him extending the state of emergency until 2021. Maybe I have the wrong end of the stick, but he wants to put some act into place. He is extending the state of emergency at the moment until the 21st of July. Before that, it was the 15th of July, which is like, why bring in the mandatory masks when the state of emergency was supposed to lift on the 15th? None of it makes any sense. So all of this back and forth nonsense, insanity, stupidity, illogical lunacy, I mean, this is just scratching the surface. So then I also got an email. I got an email from this petition group that's been sending me email after email about things that we should petition for. So the latest one is Doug Ford is going to, after he already promised that he was going to protect people from being evicted due to not paying their rent, he is now going to make it possible for landlords to evict people for not paying rent, and to do so without a tribunal, so they can be evicted immediately without any recourse, without challenging it. And again, take what I'm saying. If this is something that pertains to you, look it up, reference it, go and look at the information, because I just don't have time to look into it. And so I might have some of the details off, but generally speaking, is my point. Generally speaking, we're getting hit with all of this stuff at the same time. And it's just going to get worse. So somebody also brought to my attention that Max Egan's channel got taken down. Now I know that Max Egan is a shill. And yet, if his channel's been taken down and he allegedly had no strikes, that means other truther channels will follow quickly. So free speech is going. Not that we had free speech before, but they are going to be likely cracking down on people who are talking in opposition to mainstream. So I'm going to be looking for an alternative platform. Also, I'm going to be looking to find a way for people to contribute to what I do, because a lot of you have suggested that I do that. I do not want to compromise my message in any way, so I'm trying to find a way for this to be done anonymously, or a way for this to be done without it being attached to the information I provide, as best as I can. Because there's no way in hell I'm going back to my job. I can't do any of that. And as much as I didn't want to, but to monetize what I do, I'm realizing that a lot of people want to provide, their gratitude and show their gratitude for what I do. And financially is the easiest way for them to do that. And also, there's a lot of information that I put out that other people don't put out. So I want to be able to continue to do that and help people. So I can't do that if I'm worried about where I'm going to make my money, and if I'm going to have to get sucked into all of these restrictions. And that's basically just going to end up killing me, to be honest. I mean, I'm not even being hyperbolic about it. It will kill me. I can't do it. I can't physically do it. I left other jobs. I left advertising for less. I mean, I had an opportunity to make a lot more money than I'm making now doing background. Well, not now, but before doing background. And I left it because I couldn't physically do it and didn't have any of these restrictions. Anyway, so at the moment I have my backup channel on BitChute. I have my backup channel on YouTube, True Love 2. There's my Discord group. You can jump in there. I have to try to be a little bit more on top of mentioning these things on a regular basis so people are aware of it, so that people subscribe to it, because this channel could go at any minute based on what's going on, and I've already had one strike, and I've had several other videos taken down. So, yeah, having said all of that, I just want to be able to help people find a way to navigate through this nonsense as I try to navigate my way through this nonsense, because if we can't, this is just going to destroy us. And I've already heard of people committing suicide over this, which is just, I mean, in some ways you could say it's tragic. In other ways, if that's the only way out, that's the only way out. I don't know what to say about it. Depends on your views on death, but it seems ridiculous to do that over this, but at the same time, this whole scenario is insanity. And it's deeply disturbing. Even just going out, even though I was out trying to help people, trying to inform people, so many people don't want to hear it. People just don't want to hear the truth sometimes. And we weren't even saying anything. We weren't making it up. We were just saying, hey, did you know? We just want to inform you. And a lot of people were grateful, which is great. Like, that boosted me. But the negativity, it's discouraging. I think the biggest thing that I feel at the moment is discouragement over what's going on. And I don't know. I think what really upset me today was my friend. I could feel that I was getting a distance between me and him, and as well between my other friend who I told about this, the option to not wear the mask, and she said she would wear it because of the fines, even though I told her the fines don't apply to her. And whenever I talk to her about any of this, she just shuts down. She doesn't want to talk about it. She doesn't want to talk about anything if it touches upon the possibility that COVID could be fake. And one of you said, I think it was Scott, said that in the comments that a lot of people do shut down because they can't, their minds won't let them go there. If they believe that this is fake, then that means it opens the door to all sorts of other things being fake, because it's connected to all sorts of other things, and that their mind won't let them. They just won't. It just shuts down. And so there's some kind of mental mechanism that's been put in place to prevent people from seeing the truth. It pains me greatly just knowing that this is happening, that this is somehow our reality. And I don't know, I mean, every day I get up hoping I'm just going to have a normal day, trying my best to have a normal day, whatever normal is. I mean, for me, normal is just not contending with any of it. Not having any new information, not having any new restrictions or drama from the theater company, and by theater company I mean the puppet show, the elite people, the controllers, whatever you want to call them. But also just being able to go about my life without being imposed upon or interfered with or even contending with this stuff. I just don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I just don't want anything to do with it. Like many of you have said, this is a nightmare. It is a total nightmare. It's a cartoon. It's a freak show. It's a nightmare. It's a horror show. It's a cartoon. I already said that. It's a circus. Whatever you want to call it. It ain't real. It's just total lunacy. So, So yeah, I do my best to try to, I guess, stay in my bubble and protect myself, protect my energy from this nonsense. And going out into the shopping world just to get groceries, or you say you have to pick up one little thing that you can't order online. And I don't really want to go and order online. I can do that for some things, but now I don't want to be forced to do anything. I shouldn't be forced to do anything. But at the same time, I don't want to go out and contend with the lunacy out there, because that's just going to drive me nuts. Every single time I go out there, it's so draining. It is so draining just to see it, just to witness it. And then today, even as much as the positive aspects fed me, just dealing with that as being our reality is draining. And they know this. They totally know this. And I do my best to protect myself. I do my best. But when it's somebody who's your friend, and like the look on his face, the mocking, the ridicule, without even saying it. I mean, the words that came out of his mouth saying, "Oh, let me know how it goes tomorrow when things kick in for real." As if I have a snowball's chance in hell of actually, bypassing wearing the mask. Why would a friend say that? It is so upsetting to me. It is so deeply disturbing to me that a friend would say that. So I'm a little bit heartbroken, to be honest. I'm a little bit heartbroken. I feel, So some of you have asked me when I was upset about losing my job, why I was hanging on to the film business, knowing what I know about it. You don't understand. That was my job for 15 years. I enjoyed what I did. When I found out the truth, it was the only thing that I really enjoyed, even after I was able to detach myself from the trannies and all of the storylines and everything that they do, the horror show that is Hollywood. All of my friends are in that industry. It meant a lot to me. It was a huge part of my life. And I enjoyed it. And so not a lot of people get to find a job that they really, truly enjoy. And so knowing that I can't go back to that, is heartbreaking as well. It's also heartbreaking because I'm trying to figure out a way of lining that up. How do I tell people? How do I tell people that I'm not going there anymore? That I'm not going to participate in that? How do I tell my family when they see that, oh, the film business is picked up again? How do I tell them that I'm not going to participate in it? I'm not going to take a test or a vaccine or abide by their regulations. And then they're going to just say, well, what are you going to do? Well, I can't tell them. I can't tell them. I have to tell them something else. I can tell them that I started an online business or something, but, it's thinking about all of those little details of how you line up your life with this nonsense to people who don't get it, to people who don't see it. And if you're someone who has to leave your job because of it and trying to explain it to your partner, your wife, your husband, your mother, your father, your children, and they don't get it, why don't you just wear the stupid mask? Why don't you just take the stupid test? Why don't you just, comply to all of this stuff? Why don't you just bend over and allow them to screw you? Because they don't see it, they don't get it. They don't care. They don't care. They don't, even if you explained it to them, they don't care. Oh, it's just easier just to go along with it. Why are you being such a stick in the mud? Why are you so opposed to all of this? So all of that is running through my head for the last 2 weeks, trying to figure out what my life is now. And knowing that it isn't going to be the same. It's a big deal. It is such a big change. And to have it thrust upon you when you didn't want that to happen. And to look back on your life and say, I can't have that life anymore. It's gone. They took it away from me again. They took it away from me when I found out the truth and that everything was a lie. They took away my life. And now they're taking it away again. It's like, and then they're going to do it again. Once all this COVID crap passes, and they put in their New World Order shit, they're going to do it again. It's going to change all over again. And so the adjusting process, the letting go process, it's one thing to have it happen and you just kind of sit with it for a second and you realize, oh, okay, yeah, all right. On this sort of superficial level, the physical level. But then on the deeper level of what it really means, and you actually look at your life and you say, I can't go back to that anymore, because you're going to have to reprogram your mind in a sense to say that doesn't exist now. The life you thought you had does not exist anymore. It's not there. It's gone. That is traumatizing. It's PTSD. They are traumatizing people. And a lot of people are not aware of it yet. Some people are losing their jobs and it's like, okay, well, I'll just go get another job. But it's like, that job's affected too. That job's affected too. So you got to find another way to deal with it. You got to find another route. And so, a lot of these people, like my friend, they think that things are just going to eventually turn back to normal. That all of this stuff, once they find a vaccine, once the vaccine comes in, then we'll be okay. We'll go back to normal. We'll get rid of the masks, or maybe the masks will be permanent. Who cares? I'll be fine with that. But we'll just go back to normal. I'll be able to go back to my job and everything will be fine. But they don't realize that it isn't going back. They don't realize that everything is changing, and this is just scratching the surface. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And so the trauma is going to kick in eventually. Mostly for the people who have to modify their lives. Mostly for the people who have to leave their jobs, move out of their homes. The people who have to completely overhaul their lives because of this nonsense. And some people, like I said, are losing family members over this because they're killing themselves. I mean, I can't even begin to fathom what some of those families are going through. I seriously can't. And I empathize and I feel horrible that families have to go through that for this cartoon fucking disease. So yeah. My trauma is my trauma, and I have to deal with it. And I don't have to deal with what other people have to go through, and their trauma could be much worse. They could have much less trauma, but they still have their traumas to deal with. I have mine to deal with, and you have yours to deal with. The whole fallout of this catastrophe, this nonsense, this fictional character, CV. We all have to deal with the fallout in our own individual way. But it's all traumatizing. It's all trauma-based mind control. And it has real world repercussions. So yeah, today gave me mixed feelings because just even having to look at it, just having to deal with it made me feel horrified. And every time I look at it, it's like abuse. It's like trauma all over again. You never know. This is what narcissists do. They have you walking on eggshells. You have you walking on eggshells so that you never know when they're going to strike again. And walking around the stores, walking around the mall, walking around downtown, trying to educate people, trying to help people, give them an option, non-confrontational, approaching them as friends, and still getting attacked. You never know when someone's going to turn around and attack you. You never know when someone's going to call the cops or call security. That hostility, that hostile sting of the scorpion is always waiting. And that's what narcissists do. They want to keep you on eggshells. They want to keep you constantly paying attention to what they're doing, and traumatized and bewildered and worried and fearful and terrified. And that's why I need to pull back from this. I need to try to avoid it as much as possible. I can't. I won't subject myself to that as much as I possibly can. And I know a lot of people don't have that luxury. And maybe I'm hypersensitive to it because, first of all, because I'm aware of a lot of what's going on, but I'm also built the way I'm built. But, a lot of people can tolerate a lot of trauma. I mean, I could tolerate a lot of trauma. I just don't want to anymore. I care about how I feel. I don't want to put myself through that anymore. And nobody should have to. So, So yeah, I feel the separation, and this is just going to divide us even more. I I know, like, a lot of my friend in Australia said that he was thinking of moving, but there's no escaping it. You can't outrun this thing. There's nowhere to run to. I mean, maybe if you had your own little island somewhere, it's like you could have a little island or a little piece of land somewhere that doesn't contend with government, doesn't have to deal with anything whatsoever, and have your own little garden and just cut yourself off from the world altogether. Then you could avoid it. Absolutely. But how many of us have that luxury? How many of us even know how to do that, or where to go to do that? You go further out into the country, but you still have to contend with some of it somehow. You might be able to go to the local farm, or if you know of a farmer, if you have your own farm, then you don't have to deal with it. But at some point, you might have to go out and buy something. You might have to deal with something somewhere. But I would imagine the further out you are in the country, the less you have to contend with this crap. I don't know. Maybe some of you live in the country and you can tell me. Are you avoiding most of this being in the country? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. This is just a nightmare. I wake up every day thinking, please let this be over. When is this going to be over? I don't know if I can make it through this. And, every day you just have to deal with it as it comes. One thing after another, you just deal with it as it comes. And hopefully you've got somebody that you can hold on to and somebody who can help you and support you. Because this is a lonely journey for most of us. Okay, I hope you're all doing